But I walked into something which was exciting. It was beautiful. It was sexy. It was all these things that, like, fuck, you know, the reasons. This is great. You know, like, this is wicked, man. I think that is quite a unique angle into, you know, a very serious subject. And now, of course, I care. Of course, I care about waste. Of course, I care about all these things. You know, very much so. But what happened? I really do believe in this. It's finding. It's like a loophole. It's like if you're a businessman trying to find a gap in the market. What I saw was this guy Joost. He was just brilliant. He was just inspiring and wonderful. That he was doing something. Everybody was just like, yeah, let's do that. You know, and that was change. That was a true shining example of effective change. And so Silo is my reinterpretation of change, which is exciting, which is inspiring, and hopefully quite delicious. So.
This isn't just a talk about food, but I find that food is the thing in my story that either has the capacity to separate us and stratify us into layers of society, or to level the playing field and to put us at the same table. That's my story. And I would even say this, after 3 years of working with different vulnerable groups in Brighton, I almost wonder if there isn't a social ill that links all social ills. And I wonder if it's not social isolation. If consumerism makes us dull, and I would add lonely, is there a type of isolation that comes from the way that we consume? And there are obvious ways. I work for one church, which is a local charity, and we partner with lots of other local charities in a huge building just over here. And we work with people like the homeless in the winter with a night shelter. And you find, of course, that there's a social problem there in which isolation plays a large role. And people come to the night shelter to have a warm place to sleep, but they tend to stick around for the social aspect and the camaraderie that they find in that kind of environment. We do meals for low-income families, and they might need help putting food on the table, but they actually come back for the social aspect. And you find again and again that isolation, unsurprisingly perhaps, plays a large role in the ills that you find among the vulnerable. But there's a middle-class version of that. 3 years ago, I started a bit on a lark, Florence Road Farmers Market, which is near London Road Station up near Fiveways, and we deliberately didn't do it on a high street. We deliberately did it in a neighborhood. We deliberately avoided the street food and beer kind of thing and went for the weekly shop. Your quality cheese and bread and veg and fish and that sort of thing. And it was a huge gamble. And we found not only now is it a thriving sort of community space, which is really enjoyable. We made lots of mistakes along the way. But we've had people in a middle-class neighborhood with several children and excellent jobs come to us and say, we had almost given up on Brighton and moved away. It's so expensive and we didn't know anybody. And then you open this market and you go, surely not the corner, 12 stalls. And they go, no, actually, that's the first time we met our neighbors. And it's the first time we felt like part of a community. It's the first time we did something that the kids and the adults all wanted to do together on a Saturday morning. And you think, I don't think that actually says anything about what we're doing. I think that says a lot about how people are living.
Actually sort of all worked at the top of the waste hierarchy. There wouldn't actually be that much waste. You wouldn't have to manage it at the bottom. And what we would have is a circular economy. So reuse is a really strategic component of the circular economy for a decade or two, I would argue. And then after that, it would be really nice to think that the reuse that went on would just naturally happen without having to have a big push or campaign. Clothing, furniture, a saucepan, 80% of the waste that's attached to that item occurs before you even buy the item. Yeah, so there's all this waste that happens behind the doors of industry.
Thank you to the three speakers. You've all been brilliant. Thank you for giving your time. So should we give them a round of applause one more time?